Hey guys, it's your girl, Angel Tania, with your word or thought. Let's go with thought, with my thoughts of the day. So today, my scripture was Ecclesiastes 4:9. And always remember that I'm coming from the NIV version, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the verse, read it, and then pull it into what I took from it after I pulled out my power words, and then just talk a little about how that process within me today. All right. So the verse says, two are better than one because they have a good reward for labor. So y'all, I'm going to title this one, You Can't Do It on Your Own. You can't. That's where I'm at with it. You can't do it on your own. So the way my power words were, better because good reward and labor. Okay. So when I reworded it, this is what I got. I got two are well advised than one, since they have a desire for pleasing their efforts or achievements for their hard work. I don't know if y'all heard me. Let me read it again because that thing said different this morning. Okay. It said two are well advised than one, since they have a desire for pleasing their efforts or achievements for their hard work. Y'all, I got a whole lot to say about this one. So this might be a long video alert. Sit back, get some popcorn. Let's go. All right. So this thing hit me so powerful today because I am a person who normally, I was a person who wanted to do everything on my own because that's how my life had conditioned me to be. I couldn't rely on people to show up for me. I couldn't rely on people to just be there the way that I needed to. And I could talk a little bit more about that later because there were some pieces that I was missing in that puzzle too. But you don't see it like that when you're sitting in it, right? And when you've been hurt by, someone or people's, let's put an S on it, many, a few, a couple, however you want to word it, and you just don't trust anymore. There's a lack of trust. You want to trust. You have a desire to be with someone who you can just, be yourself with. Y'all my yourselves right now, just so you know. And what it did for me was a couple of things. So I do a couple of things just to hold myself accountable. So thanks and shout out to my accountability partners. Let me call them by name right now. Okay, right now. Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church, 228 Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Pastor or Dr. Reverend Jerry D. Marable. We have a prayer call at Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 o'clock, right? And that thing speaks to me. Like, it helps me stay in the space that I need to be in. And it also makes sure that I'm doing what I need to do because I have a desire to do it. But honestly, I knew I wasn't gonna do it on my own. But if I was doing it, or if I told someone else I would do it, I would hold myself more accountable. It's some backlog on that too, but we'll get there eventually, right? I also want to give a great shout out to my BFF, Deandra Pardue, and our co-partner, Sherelle Stratford. We talk every morning, Monday through Friday, and it's just accountability meeting. It's not a long drawn out thing unless we just, decide or the spirit moves it in that way. But it's just more so, hey, okay, what you do today, what are your accomplishments? What are you doing tomorrow? And different things to that nature, right? So just a personal accountability. And what I love about that piece is that basically what I was getting from this is when it said well advised, that thing hit me. Because a lot of times when we're talking and we're sharing, then someone else may have a different view of it because it's hard to see yourself when you're looking at yourself. But when someone else is looking at you, they see all the things that you can't see because you're living in the space and you're like here. So you've got your blinders on, so you can't see all of the other things outside of the blinders. And then some people can't see when the blinders are off, but another story, another day, right? So some other things is a lot of people stay in a space of, I'll call it self-isolation. And that doesn't mean that they're in a house like a hermit, but they don't want a lot of input, a lot of help, because they wanted to do it the way they want to do it. And that's good in some things, but it's not good in all things. That's not how life was intended to be. Even at the beginning of life, he created a partner just for, well, now let me just say it for what it is. He created Eve to be a helpmeet for Adam, right? And the key word in that sentence was help, right? So he knew that Adam was going to need some help. So God already knew that we were going to need help along the way. We can't do it on our own, even though we're strong, right? And even though, we're talented, we got a lot of gifts and strengths, but it's good just to have somebody to help pour into you guys. So just some of my things that I was jotting down today as I was in this space, and it was, you don't have to walk alone, right? And that brings me to the remembrance of the footsteps in the sand, I think is what it's called, that poem. So, but you don't have to walk alone. And there are others who will support you. But a lot of reasons, let me speak about me, because that's who I know I can talk about, right? I didn't want people to really know what I was going through because of my past experiences. There was a perception of me that was constructed, and I walked into it and I sat there. Like I sat on that thing, right? Y'all heard the titles, the strong one, independent woman, she the boss. Listen, that ain't me. I don't want none of that. However, what I do want is I do want to be walking in purpose. I do want to be in my position in life. I do want to be the spouse that I'm called to be. Like all of those things, there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't have to be the strong one. You hear it a lot where they say, a lot of people say, well, what do you do when you're the strong one and you have no one else to talk to? That statement in itself lets you know that everybody needs somebody, especially the strong ones, because they're so busy pouring into other people. Who's going to pour into them? That also made me think of something that happened this weekend when I was at one of the conferences. Shout out to Six Figure Storyteller Live 2022. There was something that happened that put me in a space, and I was upset, y'all. I'm talking about I was mad. And after, I had talked to the person and we talked it through, it made so much sense to me, right? It resonated in different ways, because basically the people who were pouring into others, like they're just pouring and pouring and pouring, they needed someone to pour into them to fill them back up. That made so much sense when I had the conversation. But in that moment, I ain't care. I was fine mad. I ain't gonna even get into it. But just know I was a little bothered, okay? So that's what that was. Now, what I do want to tell you is I want you to take some time today and just reflect on who can you really depend on. And thank God for the people that you have. Call them by name. One thing that happened with me is I'm doing self-investing, right? So I'm in a couple of programs, and I had an issue, and I say had, okay? We're still working on that thing. Don't worry about it. Thanks to my coaches for, talking me through that thing. Again, 2 is better than 1. Don't worry about it. I'm going to line that thing up for you in a minute. But I was struggling because in the communities, I was like, oh my gosh, I hadn't done this and I hadn't done that. And it was tearing on me that I wasn't doing what I needed to do, but I wasn't reflecting on the things that were causing me not to be able to do that, right? So the takeaway from it was that I do celebrate with everybody in their achievements, and I'm going to pour into you if there's an area of space that you need filling. That's who I am as a person. But what I was doing was I was comparing where I was at in my space to where I thought someone else's spaces was. When the reality is I don't know their space. I don't. I don't know what they got going on or the lack thereof. And they don't know what I got going on because, we don't talk like that. But one of my coaches talked to me and it just resonates with me. And I love the fact how when you're truly seeking something, it will be provided for you and it will be so plain. Oh my goodness. But all of that to say, guys, is that I was comparing and I couldn't fully thrive in the community because there was a comparison thing that I had. It was a real thing. I wouldn't communicate. I mean, I would always, again, I celebrate, I'll say kudos and good job, and I meant it, no ill will. But in the downtime, I was like, dang, I got to do better. Oh my gosh. So I'm beating myself down because I felt like I didn't do enough. But I wasn't thinking about all the stuff that I had going on in the background that at the time, I wasn't strong enough to push through. I wasn't. That's just what it is. I wasn't strong enough to push through it. And then by me getting down on myself made it worse. Right? I mean, your girl might have slick been a whole state depression. Let's just call it for what it was. I was sad. I was upset. I was angry. And I was by myself. And my best friend, she's been there through thick and thin. You know how I feel about you. I ain't got to talk about it. Shout out to my other friend, Bridget Alexander. I just sat in that thing. And it caused me to stretch it out. Like, what could have been a couple of weeks turned into, let's call it a year in real life. Let's call it for what it is. And when I started to speak to people and they started to tell me things that they saw and started to help me along the way, then I was able to come out of those spaces and now I'm moving. I mean, y'all, let's be real. I can post all day long, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to share what was really going on with me. I didn't. Because all it was going to take was that one somebody to say something to me and I was going to pop off. But I ain't saying I won't still pop off. I'm not saying that. What I am saying, though, is my bad. But that's the truth. That's the truth. But I won't pop off, but I may walk away. And then that's the space I'm in now. I ain't got to pop off. I don't have to pop off, but I can remove myself from that situation. If someone's saying something I don't like, I don't have to sit there and take it. Boss, it don't matter who it is. Mom, it doesn't matter. If you're speaking to me in a way that doesn't make me feel good, don't worry about me. I'm walking out. Now, I ain't going to say I'm going to turn my back because I got issues with that, but we'll talk about that another day too. But guys, just know, you're not alone. You're not alone and you don't have to walk alone. And that is part of my journey in the book, Fulfilled and Worthy, right? I want to help you increase this self-love, help you restore those healthy personal relationships, and live in a space that you love. So just stay tuned. And that's where I'm at with it. All right, guys. Went a little over the time, trying to stay between 5 and 15. So I'm still good. Thought I was going to rap for y'all today, but I ain't going to give it to you. I'm going to wait. Can't give it to you every day. But guys, just think about that. You can't do it on your own. Right? And I don't mean little tasks, like wash dishes. I don't mean that. But I mean like life, big picture. Everybody needs some support. And if you're in a space where you don't know how to get to that support or don't realize why you're stuck in a space and you can't move, because I was in a space and I couldn't move and I didn't know it. I knew I didn't like where I was at and I knew that I didn't know what to do. So I thought isolation was better because I cut everybody off. You can ask them. I'll be like, hey, y'all, don't talk to me for about 60, 70 days. I'll let y'all know when I'm free. That's a true statement. Anybody that's close to me will tell you those are facts. But in that time, yes, sometimes I did get a lot of revelations, but a lot of times I was in more pain alone than I was really building, right? And so then I had to really understand what isolation meant. So those are just some things that I have learned along my journey and some things that I want to share with you if this applies to you. All right, guys, your girl Angel Tennille out for real this time. Bye.